everybody coming out today. It's really great to see all the coverage that we get and continue to get here at USD and in this area. It's really important for what we do and really special for our student athletes. So thank you so much for coming out today. It has been a busy, eventful last 6 months for us. I just actually was recapping and just realized I still had my press conference notes here in my book, and feels like a blink of an eye really since that day, and it's been a lot of fun since then, a lot of things that we've gotten done. So the spring really started with accumulating our staff and really assembling a great group of people to put around our student athletes. It always starts and ends with the people for me, so we assembled a great staff, a staff I'm really proud of. So to Ty, Gabby, Taylor, Mike, and Taylor, thank you so much for your continued efforts. I think these are the best people to be at this job and to provide a great student-athlete experience for all of our players. So we're really excited about them. We also added 3 new pieces to our player side of the roster management in the spring from the transfer portal. 3 players who we feel are a great fit from a culture side of our program, but also great players too. They really provide some of that instant experience for our team and really have been in games to have the ball in their hands, making big shots, scoring a lot of points in some cases, and other times just wearing a collegiate jersey and knowing how that feels to play on the floor so early in your career. So great pieces we've added throughout the summer. We've mixed the old with the new. We've had 9 returners, 3 additions from the transfer portal, as well as 2 freshmen, along with a whole new staff. And so it's been a lot of new faces. It's been a lot of getting to know each other. It's been a lot of team bonding and developing some of that chemistry. A huge opportunity for us this summer was to travel to Greece. So that certainly provided a lot of extra time to develop those relationships, to really bond together. When you're sitting on buses and planes and boats, you have that time to really develop that. As well as on the court, we were able to play 3 exhibition games there and start to develop that on-court chemistry as well. So this fall, we've been working really hard. Again, it's been really fun to see a lot of new roles and new opportunities for players who have been here in the past, and also our new additions, figure out where they fit and figure out what's next for us. It's just a really exciting time to be here at USD to build off of an incredible run last year, going to the NCAA Sweet 16, and to really turn the page and start a new chapter, a new era for women's basketball. So we're really excited for the season to kick off shortly.
All right, now we're going to open the floor up for questions for Coach. If you have a question, please track down her Sadie over here. She'll hand you the microphone so that way people tuning online can hear us.
You mentioned obviously getting to play some games in Greece. That was a quick way to get into playing some games, and obviously with the new teams and live action, it's good for the experience. But were there any points of emphasis that came up just from having to get on the court so quickly?
Well, there were a lot of pieces to it. I think a foreign tour like that, it really provides that opportunity to have a lot more practices throughout the summer. And we thank our administration and the Presbyterian University for making that opportunity happen. We're really the only Summit League team to consistently send a women's team on a foreign tour, and as much as the NCAA allows us to do that, and that's an incredible opportunity. So for us, a lot of times it's just getting our players on the floor, getting them used to our system, right, with our new staff. And what are we emphasizing now, right? So we're looking to play a motion offense style. We're also looking to play a little bit more up-tempo. So how do we get into those things? And really starting to learn the lingo sometimes that a new staff brings in with. And so developing those on-court relationships, I think, are really, really important. There were a lot of good takeaways from those games. We had some good competition in some games, and in others just had an opportunity for everybody to get out on the floor. And sometimes that alone is really, really helpful down the road.
And Coach, how much of this offseason has been just trying to build that team chemistry with the new staff, a lot of new players, a lot of change? How much of that, how much of the offseason has been just trying to build that togetherness, so to speak?
Well, the offseason is really important for that, for building those relationships. So we've spent a lot of time together, not just in practices and in workouts, but we've really done a lot of fun team activities off the court here in town and here in Vermillion and giving back to our community. And then certainly when we went on our foreign tour. So it's fun to have those experiences together. I think when you travel, it's one thing. I think when you're standing in front of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, it's a moment you'll never forget. And you'll never forget the people that were there with you during those moments. So it was a really cool experience. It's been really important, really, over the last 6 months I think it always starts with those relationships. You have to have that foundation in place for our staff to build that with our players. We have that trust in place now where when we go into games and starting to challenge them a little bit more in game situations or tough situations when things don't go your way and adversity hits, you have that trust as the foundation to fall back on, and you know that we're coaching out of a place of love and that we've got that relationship already in place.
With a lot of minutes and a lot of points from last year gone, what's kind of the excitement level been amongst the team and the competition in practice as players are trying to carve out role and earn those extra
Yeah,
points?
I'm glad you said it that way. It's a lot of new faces, right, and a lot of new names that are going to be popping up on the box scores. So to put it to paint the picture, we lost 84% of our scoring, 77% of our minutes played. We have 0 starts returning from last year. So what does that mean? That means a lot of opportunities. That means the competition level is really high in practice because we don't really have those set people. We don't have set starters. There's a few people that I think are more go-to players than others right now, but the rest is a lot up in the air. So we're really trying to figure that out. And because of that, it's been a fun challenge because our players really see that opportunity. And the last few days specifically, the competition level has been just through the roof. And this team is amazing because the culture in place is really that this team knows how to compete and they know how to win. Just because maybe they weren't on the floor during the NCAA tournament run as much as other people were who were no longer with the program, they were still preparing for those games. They were still practicing against the Sweet 16 team every single day. And these players, they know how to compete and they know how to win. It's just a little bit of a different role now. You're going to be on the floor with the lights shining bright, and how do we help them transition from that role to the next will be the fun part.
Yeah, so who are some of the players that we should be looking out for this year?
Honestly, we're really excited about so many of them. Clearly, Grace Larkins had a preseason nod here early on, and she's really the one that brings the most USD experience, I think, minutes-wise, back to our team. But she's also a younger player, and so we have a lot of pieces around her that I think are really exciting. I think our 4 seniors that are here today, they really all bring a leadership role along with Grace. It's really exciting. It's fun to see their different personalities come out, and each of them playing a different role. Some of them having a little bit more experience here at USD than others. Some of them having experience like Madison Grange, for example, at another university for 4 years and choosing to spend her COVID year here with us, and what a great fit she's been. There's a lot of just a core group of players that, there's a lot of players are going to play this year. I really feel like that. It's been fun and competitively to see them day in and day out, and sometimes they're shifting between each other. But besides that, I think we just wait and see.
Hey, Coach, what has the vibe been like off the court for this team when you've had the chance to get to know them on the foreign tour and these days in practices where things are ramping up a little bit? I mean, what is just generally the atmosphere like, the vibe like with this new group?
Yeah, we have a great atmosphere about us. I really feel like this team likes each other. They like each other a lot. And again, we're mixing old with new. So this isn't a group of 14 players who have been together for a couple of years. This is really a core group of players that have been here the last few and have had tasted that success and seen it year in and year out and know what that takes here at USD. And then we've got some new additions who know how to win but haven't really done that here and in front of this fan base, and knowing how important it is to wear South Dakota across your chest and play in rivalry games here at USD. So it's a mixture of both, but because we've spent so much time together and because of the culture that's in place, and we've been talking a lot about culture here recently and identifying really who we want to be. And it looks different from past years. We have a lot of core players back, but our team looks very, very different. So we have to be different culturally. What do we want to invest in? Who do we want to be about? And we've been sharing a lot of those ideas and those words to kind of come up with our mantra, really, of who we are. And I think more than anything, a work program over everything. This team wants what's best for each other. They look inside the circle. They are diving on loose balls. They give up their bodies. They sacrifice for each other. And that carries over off the court, too. They have the same exact mindset. They love spending time together. And it's just a really fun group to be around.
Last year, there were a couple players that the team returned to in the games. I guess who are some of the players that you expect, like if you get that sort of game to get you?
Yeah, well, certainly end of game situations are going to be different for us, right? And learning to trust those players. I think, Grace Larkins, I think, has stepped up this last year and shown really what she can do. Now she's in more of a leadership role, so it's going to be important for her to transition to that, as well as, like I mentioned, with our 4 seniors. I think those 4, as far as Janiyah, Macy, Madison, Pep, I think those 4 are really, they bring such leadership roles, and to put the ball in their hands at the end of the game, I think there's a sense of steadiness, there's a sense of comfort from the younger players that those players have been in those situations before. It's just transitioning them to be the ones to take the shot. But that's the fun stuff that we get to figure out. That's the fun stuff we got to do in Greece and put them in those types of situations. We continue to do that this fall, looking at different options to put the ball in the right hands and figuring out who that is going to be, who is going to step up and confidently make the shot when we really need to.
Natalie Mazurek was a player who got a lot of minutes last year, or coming off the bench, but obviously suffering an injury. How's she doing? Is she getting ready for the season opener, and you kind of slowly bring her along?
Yeah, she's coming along. That's what I can say. She's really progressing quite nicely. They're excited about her progress. It's fun to see her back out on the court. So we've had her back out on there and shooting and getting back involved with the team has been really nice. So we'll continue to monitor her progress.
Sticking to the health question, I guess overall with the team, how's everything doing injury-wise?
Yeah, for the most part, we are healthy. We do have one of our seniors here with us today who this summer suffered a lower leg injury, but we're monitoring her progress as well. And that's a player that we're going to look to for her leadership from the sidelines instead this year as well. But other than that, everybody's looking really healthy, and that's a continued thing day by day we hope for.
From a defensive standpoint, did you experiment with anything in Greece with maybe zones or anything like that, or switching things up?
Well, I really feel like this program has prided itself on tough man-to-man defense. It's really a philosophy that I believe in, that I grew up playing in, and that I think is so vital to our culture. When I first met with this team back in the spring, that was something that came up from them almost right away. Like, this is who we are. We love this part. We love to be tough defensively. So we are really honing in on that, and if that's the buy-in level that we have, and that's been working. I think that's a great way to start. Not saying that's the only thing we'll see, but I think that's going to be our bread and butter for the season.
Any other questions for